And here we go. First off, we are riding the Norco Optic for 2023-2022 model year. They haven't changed it, so this is kind of coverage of over it. And we're going to shred some pretty fast trails, some technical, some kind of sharp, agile riding. This is Norco's go-to all-over short-traveled mountain bike, which can kind of rip anything. It's got a really good geometry for downhills, but it's not got the weight behind it that a 150mm travel bike would have. As you can see, I have no problem handling this high-speed downhill trail. Obviously it looks pretty flat, but it's pretty good descent. It's fast and flowy, and this thing just eats it up, no problem. I didn't find any issues with it. There are some later sections with some bigger rocks and roots, and definitely you feel a little bit of limitation in that 140mm travel from fork, but it handles it very, very well. On the rear they have 125mm of travel, but it is with a custom downhill spec shock, so it is actually very, very well performing in even the bigger hits. Norco has really improved their bike geometries over the past years, and the Norco Optic is no surprise that it actually handles these descents so well and yet climbs so agile and fast. In these rolly flowy sections, it does a really good job. This one here I am riding is the Norco Optic C1. That's right, top end edition. This one comes with a front carbon triangle, an aluminum rear triangle, which many brands are switching to carbon, but Norco is sticking to that aluminum setup. One, to keep the price pretty aggressive, and two, it doesn't save that much weight switching it, so why put such an expensive part on it realistically. The front fork is the Fox Performance Elite Float 36 with a Grip 2 dampener, 140mm of travel, and 42mm of offset. So a pretty good setup there. It's really going to handle those descents well. It is actually made for downhill, but it actually climbs really, really well. The rear shock again is at Fox Performance Elite Float DPX2, and that one has 125mm of travel, like I said before. Here's where the impressive specs really come in. With the C1 edition, they have foregone the electric shifting and gone to something fast, reliable, and lightweight. And that is a Shimano XTR M9100 part spec. This is a very fast, very reliable shifting set. Although the hand controls do feel like a standard push, they have a firm response to them. It's really easy to shift, and every single time you shift, it makes that shift. I didn't have a single issue where it kind of rode the edge of the chain or rode the edge of the cassette. It just shifted, no problem. And that overall part spec shaves a good chunk of weight off the bike. For 140mm travel, this is a relatively lightweight bike, coming in just at 31 pounds. And I think that is pretty good for what type of bike this is. It's not a lightweight XC bike. It is a through and through trail bike made for slamming some heavy downhills, but also climbing right back up and not taking a gondola. The brake setup is a follow-up with the Shimano XTR M9120s, 4-piston with organic brake pads, so these things have some stopping power. Tons of feel and adjustment to them. They're a fantastic brake. Any different than high-end SRAM? They're still pretty twitchy and connecting. They really feel like you're pulling the brakes. They have some good modulation. I enjoyed them. Not that much better than a Code RS or even something like the Guide RSC, but very good. And the brake levers are a good shape to them. They feel really good. The rear brake rotor is 180, whereas up at the front they still have a big old 203mm rotor. So they are pointing this bike down. They are wanting you to go downhill. Handlebar, they have the 1-up carbon handlebar, Has a 20 mil rise to it, which I really like to put you in a really comfortable position. And it comes stock at 800 mils, but obviously everyone can customize that as much as they want. This one was definitely cut down to about 780 for this ride. It does have a pretty impressive dropper post. It's got the X Fusion Manic. I thought it was very responsive. It worked well. It has a custom Norco dropper controller, and it was fast, it was responsive, and a good short throw. It didn't feel like I was pushing a hard lever or pushing it really far to make it actuate. One little push and it was up there. Something I really enjoyed on this bike was the DMR Death Grip grips. I have not tried these before, but they are what they say. They hold on tight. You have multiple different textures to them. It is soft and comfy, but yeah, it is the death grip. It holds your hand to them so well with very little bite. Didn't get any like hand cramps or anything, even on the longer rides. I thought it was just fantastic. Overall, the remaining little parts of this bike are all top notch. All of it is the highest end hubs with Shimano XT, microspline in the back. Everything is really well built. The rims are the Stan's Flow. They are not a carbon rim, but these are a very nice aluminum rim. Good strength to them. They felt stiff and they felt like a lightweight wheel. We did switch out the tires. They did come stock with a Vittoria Mazda 2.4, but we switched them out from such an aggressive setup to a little faster Maxxis Ardent Race. And this we chose because it felt like so many bikes are going to these big, heavy, tons of traction tire. In our area especially, we're not lacking in traction. We have some really good conditions most of the year. Good moist soil. It is pretty loamy, soft, controllable. It's not super heavy loam where it digs down. These roll fast. These are a really nice addition to the bike. I have tons of traction on them and they work well. I was running around 25 psi in the front and probably about the same in the rear. It is all tubeless ready, obviously. The bike overall rides great. The Norco Optic in all the levels is going to get better and better, or maybe not better, but overall better for budget. They're all going to ride pretty similar. Yeah, you're going to save a lot of weight by going up to the higher end one, but overall, like, the geometry felt so dialed on this. It's all custom fit essentially between the custom chainstays, the tuned suspension setups, and even with lower end suspension. This is going to be a really cool, interesting bike, continuing the ever-growing trend of down country. As the trail bikes become more all mountain, these kind of cross-country bikes have to become more all down country. Everything keeps shifting. We're getting better and better lighter weight parts. You add a pound to a bike in one aspect, but you take a pound away somewhere else, and you're able to ride these bikes in more and more places and be more confident with their ability to do that. You know, a bike like the Norco Optic, I'm not going to be afraid to take to a downhill park. I'm not going to be afraid to climb and take on a double black diamond. This will definitely handle it. Will you win that downhill race? No, not a chance. You still have that small limitation in how much travel it's got and the aggressiveness of it. But like even these rocky fast bits, like you can point it down, it eats it up, no problem. And then the suspension tuning, which Norco recommends, is actually really well dialed. Even as it gets dark here, you have confidence in the bike and its feel to really control itself, throw itself around, and have a fast response to it. It is something I thought would be a bike I'd go for forever and keep for a long time. But on other days of that, we did do a couple rides on this, and I'll post another one. But is it the perfect bike? It did feel it. This very first ride, I felt very comfortable on it. I felt like I could do anything on it. The second follow-up ride, we took a bit more faster downhill, aggressive trails, and it definitely felt a bit more limited in that, but not by much. I didn't feel super overwhelmed by it. It was a very good bike. And I don't mean overwhelmed as in a bad thing, I meant overwhelmed as a good thing. Overall, the 2023 Norco Optics are going to be something which I think will be seen more and more around. Norco is heavily investing in the mountain biking world. All their new bikes coming out are mountain bikes. We have the Fluid and a Fluid FS4 to check out, and they've done a good job. Quality of the build is really nice. It looks fantastic, like the color wise, with the silver optic on the top, the blue paint job. It's really nice, really high quality. It really feels like a high-end bike, whereas I always felt like Norco's maybe had a little bit of a holdback to them. It really feels like Norco is investing in mountain biking and going back to its true roots, where it came from in Western Canada, and it's going to keep growing and keep making much better bikes. Overall, I don't think you can go wrong with this one. Hopefully this video helped. Hopefully it showed you a little bit of where this is able to go, which I think Norco is saying is everywhere. You shouldn't be afraid to take this where you want to take it, and you shouldn't be afraid of being held back if you were the wrong crew or the wrong trails. This will keep up no matter what, and still climb really fast, still race fast. It's actually, yeah, it's a very pleasant bike. Anyway guys, hopefully this helped you out. Thanks for coming along on this ride with me. Leave a comment below and keep an eye out. We have a ton of new videos coming out. The new release bikes are all arriving, and new bikes are coming out every day, so we can talk more about that. Ask me below if you want me to check out any bike below. And otherwise, thanks for watching and good luck, guys. Have a good one.
Lustiest ride we've had all year. Whoa. Yep. Away from home.
Hey!
Every time.
Clap behind your back.